You are not going to become the guitarist you want to be by practicing. You must first become the guitarist and then practice. And I know that sounds opposite and backwards. You're like, what is this guy talking about? What are you talking about, Ty? You're confusing me already and the video just started. Well, what I'm trying to say is the guitarist who's out there on stage might be way more talented than you, but they've already become the guitar player. And I'm going to tell you a whole story about what happened with me and my students and everything in this video today. Okay, so here is the order in which you're most likely doing right now. You think you got to do more and more and more, and then you'll become the person, and then you'll have what you want. And I've fallen into this trap several times, and I totally get it. You think you need to do more scales, you need to do more theory, you need to learn more songs, and that will move the needle a little bit. But what you don't realize is eventually that doubt in your head starts coming in because you're doing without being. Instead of if you just were to become the person that you want to be, it's going to make doing the work a lot easier. Because what you're going to find is you're going to run into a roadblock when you're practicing scales or you're learning the music theory stuff and you're like, how do I apply this? I'm not even in a band. I'm not even playing with other people. I'm not even being a musician. Versus if you were to become that person who was on stage playing, who's doing it, living it, jamming with other people, writing your own songs, releasing your own songs, if you were being the person, then the doing is going to be 10 times more easier because you've already made the decision firsthand. And I kind of skipped ahead to the next part of this video. But say I wanted to become a virtuoso guitar player, which I have achieved, by the way, and I don't say that to be pretentious. So I kind of made that decision, I think it was 2018, 2017. There's this guy at this conference I was at, and he was talking about what's a virtuoso guitar player, and nobody was giving him a clear answer. And maybe he was being pretentious, maybe he wasn't, I don't know. He seemed like he was being pretentious, and I had to put that in the back of my mind. It's like I never really thought of that as a goal, of being a virtuoso guitar player. What does that even mean? So I was just like, all right, well, that's the goal to aim for. I'm just gonna be the best musician, the best guitarist I can be. So right after that, it's another story where I actually learned how to navigate the fretboard like a master. Or if you want to know more about that, I have a full course, you can go check it out. You want the actual tactics and the strategy to becoming a virtuoso guitar player. It's not just the doing though. There's the doing part, which is in that course, right? Which I needed to be first. So I had the being and then I did the doing. And you know what the doing was? I came back and I got back together with an old lead singer. At the time it was a reggae band that later became a rock band again. And we were jamming, and I knew what to do, and we just wrote songs. We wrote 5, 10 new songs. Later, the drummer ended up dying, so that project ended. And I also teamed up with another musician, so there was two. I was working with two people. And this other musician and singer, we were writing songs. I was playing guitar, and they were writing the lyrics. We would get together every day, Monday through Friday, for 2 to 4 hours a day, writing songs. We were doing it, because I was being it. And I told them, and we both had the same thing. We both wanted to be it. So guess what we did? We did it. And there's so many people, and me included, that you have self-doubt in your mindset. And this is the hardest truth ever. If you want to get up on stage, you want to play a band, you want to write songs and compose songs and release your songs. I have 300 demos. Let me give you another example. I have 300 demos. I recorded 1,200 songs on this phone over the last decade. And in March, no, it wasn't in March, it was before that. It was sometime last year. I was at a lesson, and I'd spoken with a colleague before that lesson because I've been teaching guitar for over a decade. And I was speaking to him, and he told me, he's like, dude, have you heard about Suno? I don't know, man, it's getting pretty good. And at the time I was like, this AI stuff, it can't be that good, whatever. So then we fast forward to this lesson, and regardless on how you feel about AI, I'm just trying to tell you a story, okay? So just come into this with an open mind. A skill that I have, that I learned at a young age, is you gotta be adaptable. Anyways, the lesson. We're sitting there, I had my apprentice there. He was no longer my apprentice, by the way, and then we had a student. And somehow we started talking about AI. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna pull it up right now and show you that it's not that good. Because we were talking about songwriting, performing, playing on stage, and doing these things. And again, 80% of my job as a coach is just helping you with your beliefs and your mindset. So I know you want the tactics. If you want the tactics, you can go get my course. Anyways, going to Pluto. I have a problem with going to Pluto. And that's another thing. I'm doing these videos. I'm being the guy who does the videos. Even when he doesn't, you think I feel like talking to a camera and exposing myself and being vulnerable? No. So I put a song in there. I said, write me a song, and it did. And it was crazy good. So I was like, wait a second. I went through and I recorded a song. Actually, I did it in Logic. I pulled up the piano, I played it, and I sang it. It was one of the songs I had written with the songwriters. I've written over 100 songs before this. 1,200 licks, 100 original songs beginning to end. So I already had experience. I was already being it. And I know I totally lost the thought of virtuoso guitar player, which doesn't matter. I'll tell that in another video. What came back after I recorded, it was more than just one song. I did like 5 or 10 songs like that I sang and I played. Got a microphone right here. I had my piano. See it? Back there. Got on the piano. Got on the microphone. Played and sang it. Recorded it in Logic. Threw it into Suno. And it was amazing. It was insane. Insanely good. Unbelievably good. I mean, not like... I will say this. There's parts that I can make better in these songs. But I have 300 songs now. A year later, not 10 years. 10 years of riffs and licks, 100 songs plus written. Now I have 300 songs that I'm releasing as demos, and they're in Japanese. So this gets back to the point. I want to start a Japanese rock band. I don't know Japanese. I know karate, so I know how to like count, and I know how to say some like karate moves, but I don't know Japanese. So the last couple days, what have I been doing? I've been learning to sing these songs in Japanese, and Japanese language is very fast. I don't know if you know this, but it's very fast, and it's not I don't know really anything. So I used the tools that are available to me, and I was able to come up with, first, there's the kanji, then there's the romanji, and then even the romanji, I got to learn how to pronounce some of the words because the syllables aren't the same as English. And then there's the English meaning. So I've got one song that I've been working pretty hard on. It's called Heavy. So I'm learning to play and sing it because these demos, I can go back and later record myself, or I can play live. So if you want to say that it's AI slop or whatever, or that I'm cheating, go ahead. Because there's been plenty of tools that artists and musicians have used that people have said has been cheating in the past. I just wanted to say that because I was resisting not talking about AI because of all the hate I got before. But I don't really care because it's a great tool to help me bring my creations to life. And I can actually, you think it would be even possible for me to write a song in Japanese? Start a Japanese alternative pop punk band? No, I don't think so. So I'm using the tools available to me. But the point is if I'm going to be somebody who is a lead singer of an alternative pop punk band, Japanese alternative pop rock, when I say alternative rock, and you should be able to check out my releases. I'm releasing 2 a week. They're demos, not perfect. That's a whole nother belief about perfectionism. You got to get perfectionism out of it. But I'm being that person. I'm being the person who does videos, and then I'm doing the actions. And then I'm loving the process as best I can, because it is a process. And then I'm going to have a Japanese rock band. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, it might take 10 years. And that's the thing. When I was young, I want to tell one more story, because this really will help solidify the whole philosophy of this. If you've gotten this far in this video, I appreciate your attention. But in 16, I'd been playing guitar for 2 years. The lead singer of the band I was in at the time, he came down and we came over to the garage. We had this drummer kid who was also playing drums for us. He did not end up being our drummer later, but Blake had this riff, and then I played this lead part over it. I even wrote a solo to it. And we're like, this is cool. Can we record this? So the neighborhood kid, Arthur, we went over to his house, and he had this little 8-track recorder. This was like 2003 or 2004, something like that. And then we went in there and we recorded each individual track. And we had to get a microphone to hang from like the stairs, because there was like this little corner area where you were hanging your coats. That's where we had to put the drums. And we had to have the mic come down under to record the drum parts and everything like that. And then guess what? We had a song. So that's where I was kind of like, I didn't know this at the time. I was like a teenager. I didn't understand philosophy. But at that point I was like, okay, we're being it. I'm a musician. I'm a guitar player. I'm a lead guitar player in a band. I got a lead set. And then the drummer didn't end up wanting to work with us. We had to find another drummer. And then we had a bass player for a little while. We had a temporary drummer who I'm still friends with to this day. And then the bass player quit. So Blake, the other guitar player, we had to adapt because we had a gig. So he had to get a bass. And then we found a drummer finally. And then we played a bunch of shows, festivals, toured the Midwest. A whole bunch of other stuff happened. And then about 1920, the band broke up and quit. And I decided I was going to be a lawyer. And I sold all my equipment. But I kept one acoustic guitar because I couldn't completely part with the music. And then I had a realization, I had an aha moment that it wasn't about that, and I was not enjoying learning court cases. I think I was going to go into business or business law or something like that. Anyways, the biggest trap you'll ever run into is your mindset, because you will talk yourself out of things if you do not first train yourself to be the person. And it's going to be so hard because you're going to have so much resistance and so many other people and naysayers telling you that you can't do it, telling you that you're not good enough, or that song sounds like something else, that's AI slop, whatever it is. And that's the whole point, is you got to stay persistent and consistent. Okay, so I went on a little bit of a tangent there. I told you a bunch of stories, but the whole purpose of this video, if you were to take anything away from this video, is doing is not going to be enough. You need to understand your why, who you're being, who your future person, who your future self is. Who is that? And then there's so many distractions that are going to stop you and prevent you from doing that. So you really have to have the courage to take action, and you'll know the doing, because you do have to still take action. I'm not saying like you can just decide to be a rock star or a hero and then not take any actions. But you'll realize that when you can, and this happens over time. This doesn't happen, it's not a one-time thing. Because I've been going through some stuff the last 3 or 4 days. It's been really hard. I realized I had a bunch of negativity, a bunch of self-doubt, a bunch of mindset when it came to making these videos, when it came to going to Japan and doing my alternative pop punk band. I was like, how am I gonna do it? I'm old, can I even do this? So you gotta just be it. Didn't do it. And then you'll have it. And hopefully you have some reference experiences for other things that you've just became, did the work, and had it. But this has changed a lot of lives. And if you go on the internet and you do any sort of mindset, philosophy, I guess you could call it self-help. This is what they're talking about too, and it's true. And I figured out about this about a year ago, but I didn't figure out the part which was the loop in my mind, and really, like, I think maybe hit rock bottom, or I just had it. So you might need to experience that moment where you just had it, and you're just like, all right, I don't care what's gonna happen. Everything else is a distraction. I have to do this. I have to achieve this. I'm gonna stay committed to the vision about who I wanna become more than the circumstances that I already have, and I'm just gonna show up and I'm gonna do it. What are the habits of this person? What are the actions they take? What are the boundaries? Who are you? Who do you want to become? Who is your future person, your future self? What mindset do they have? Because yes, it is a loop. And that loop that's running, the same thoughts you have every day, me included, and I've been in this business game and this philosophy game for a long time, and I'm even guilty of it. The loop, that one negative thought about something that usually it's something that you can't control. So you lose your focus. And what you need to instead focus on is what you can control. Because what you can't control, all the stuff, especially all the negativity and the scrolling and the news, all of it, all the negative beliefs, whatever it is, or maybe you just want to be a zombie. You're probably not watching this video if you're a zombie though. This is some deep level stuff. If you notice, I haven't sweared in any of my videos. That's self-control right there. I have the mouth of a sailor, secretly. But the loop will still happen. Why? Because you want to sabotage yourself, because your future self, the future person you want to be, and the person you are right now, if you just like, okay, right here, I want to become this person, that gap, when you try to go up, life's going to happen, and it's going to try to knock you down. This has been happening to me. And now I'm fully aware of it, and I'm talking about it in these videos, so now I'm really going to be held accountable. But like, it kept knocking me down. I was like, and then I started blaming circumstances, other people, just going down a negative spiral. And if I can't be the only one who experience this. This is why you got to have the grit, and you got to be okay with the uncertainty and the doubt and the failure. I've been making a video a day for like 3 weeks. And there's been so many distractions as I'm making the videos. There was a distraction recently I just had to correct. And it's so easy to lose your focus. Your focus. There's so many distractions that are distracting you from what you really want to do. And I will talk about this. Because you have no idea how deeply I've studied philosophy. And one of my mentor, he kind of left me out to dry, and I had to sort of figure out the rest of this stuff myself. But I did, thank goodness, I took some notes, and I was able to get those notes. And there's some special secret sauce notes that I have. But what you really want, you don't just want to believe it. You have to know it, like in your bones. And it's called a desire. Like, what is your desire? And you got to really understand what that is, and then realize you already said yes to it. Because this is what my issue was, and this is what I'm working through right now, is that there was something that I wanted that I already said yes to, but then I've been blocking it because I didn't realize that I already said a yes to it. And there's this whole process. It's a 4-step process that you go through, and it's really deep. It's like the deepest, oldest stuff in history. So if you're curious about that, you can leave a comment and I'll share it with you. Or maybe I won't, because it's top secret. You'll have to send me an email. But the loop, it is a loop. And if you get stuck in the loop, or you can just do the endless loop of the same things. But if you want change, you got to find out what the problem is, and then you got to fix it. You got to do some introspection, you got to do some letting go. You got to break the loop, and you got to figure out what it is. And oftentimes that takes introspective, and that takes courage, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncertain. And this is why you will not grow. This is why you fail. This is why I've been failing for the longest time, making excuses about why I didn't want to do the videos. I didn't want to edit it. I had to do the script. I didn't like reading a script. So then I just said, no, what? I'm not even going to use a script. I'm just going to go and be my own personality and just do it. So there's a loop. You got to break the loop. If you don't break the loop, you're going to stay stuck in the loop. So stop being stuck in the loop, unless that's what you want, which is what's comfortable. Because when you go outside of the comfort zone, or some people say you raise your vibration, or whatever, your frequency, your mindset, whatever it is, the person you want to be, when you try to go outside that, it doesn't like it, or it has to balance itself out. It's called the law of balance, which is a principle. Doesn't really care too much, because I'll tell you something. Life will beat you down. What can't happen will happen. So that's why you really have to test your resolve and be able to fight the storm. Or in the arena, you're in the arena and people are booing you, whatever. Are you going to stay defeated? Are you going to pick yourself up and keep going? Keep fighting. That's the part people don't want to talk about. They don't like talking about that. Or the valley of despair. Okay, so yeah, I know this works because it's worked for me. It's worked for many of my students. And again, 80% of my job is getting them to believe in themselves. And I can't always get them to believe in themselves. I try my best. I really do. But at the end of the day, you have a choice. What you do. Got that from Spider-Man, by the way. You have a choice. You always have a choice. We always have a choice. What you're going to do, how you're going to respond. And that's something that I've been forgetting, and I kept going in this negative loop. And I think that's what happens with everybody. Whatever it is you're trying to do, is you get in this negative loop. You start to get some action, and then you quit. Or you try to cheat. And, I'm not telling you whether to cheat or not cheat, but there are some things you could do to make things. Some people might call it cheat. Like me using AI, is that cheating? Well, I guess I suppose on how you define cheating, but in general, like if you always cheat, it's not going to be a good situation. So if you want to hear more about my students, I have a whole entire training where I talk about my story when it comes to the guitar and making the comeback real, if you're serious about it, because I sold all my equipment My band broke up, but I wasn't giving up. I'm still not giving up. I'm 36. I still got work to do. And there's this one final block, this one final piece, which I feel close to. I'm not giving up. So anyways, I got the entire course I mentioned before. You can go check out for free. Once you figure out you're going to be it, I'll show you what you need to do. But remember, you get the mindset, you got to do it. And then the distractions, don't let the distractions distract you, because they are coming. The storms are coming. The challenges are coming. And that when that happens to you, when you're playing and if you're doing it with music, you're learning the theory, the writing, whatever it is, and the challenge or the resistance kicks in, you've already made the decision ahead of time of who you are, the person you want to be when it comes to your music. And your success with music, it could be many different things. Maybe it's playing for your church band. Maybe it's playing in a cover band. Maybe it's playing dive bars. Maybe it's being in an original band. Maybe it's recording your own music and releasing it. Maybe it's being a great improviser. Maybe it's being, when you go to jam sessions, you want to go to blues or jazz jam sessions, you want to know what you're doing, you want to feel confident on the fretboard. Whatever it is, you got to be it first, and then you'll do the actions, and then you'll get there. And it's a process. Like, you think I'm going to learn how to sing 300 Japanese songs in a day? I spend probably like 5 hours on just one song, and I'm maybe 50% of the way there. And by the way, here's a pro tip. If you want to get good at guitar, if you want to frustrate yourself, you could try to play any song or anything at the speed that you want to play it at, or you think you can play it at. But really, if you make this, you slow it down half. And I'm learning that as I'm learning to pronounce Japanese. I'm slowing it down to half of the speed, 80% of the speed, and 100% of the speed. It's the same way I learned how to play a super difficult solo or a super difficult arpeggio song. 0.5%, 80%, 100%. That's the doing. And that's the part where you're like, oh, it's so slow. I don't like this. It's not fun. But if you have already made the decision of who you are, who you're going to become, the doing is easier. And then you'll have it. Then I'll get it. Then I'll get this song down. Does that make sense? You need that why. Now, if you want to become first, because if you don't have that, there's lots of things, distractions, naysayers, troublemakers, dream killers. They'll try to stop you. So you have to make that resolve ahead of time. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, entertaining, enlightening. If you liked it, like it. Leave a comment. It helps the channel. I already told you where you can find everything. I'll see you in the next video.